we see people quit coaching either below 5K per month or above 100K per month. And there's really no in between, which is insane to me, but it's because above 50K per month, they build themselves into a prison that they hate a lot of times.
I was homeschooled and emotions weren't allowed because we were raised in a cult called ATI, which is like Christian fundamentalism. So as a female, I was not allowed to express myself. So writing was the safest place, and that ended up really serving me and setting me up for success now.
I can either be the COO of a $500,000 company and then just like be stuck in that identity and not grow, or I can say like, well, I'm the COO of we want to do 4 million this year, like of a $4 million company or a 5 million or a $10 million company. Yep. What does that person wear to work? Mrs. Amanda, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm super excited for this one because I feel like first of all, it's hard to cold DM and set somebody, right? And you were so prolific at it that you not only set Mike, but you did such a good job that he was sending me like screenshots of like, I'm going to give this girl a call because look at this. And he like sent me screenshots of the whole kind of cold DM conversation and what you did and how you did it. I know we talked about a little bit on the team call that you were on the other day, and everybody got a tremendous amount of value from that. So I'm excited just to kind of dive a little bit deeper into just your brain, kind of what you do. How would you describe, because you're in so many things, how would you describe what you do, your occupation?
Yeah. So how I get the foot in the door is I'm a copywriter and ghostwriter.
Okay.
And so that's my main thing. I love using words to leverage businesses and people and money. And then inevitably I end up usually being their brand director or their fractional COO. Yeah.
So you said COO, not CMO.
Mhm.
So what do you do ops wise whenever you jump into a business? What are the main things that you look at from that perspective?
I help give them the systems and framework they need in order to support the output of content and the influx of leads. So
Got it.
very similar to what y'all do with AR funnel, but just like a one-woman team going and building out all their go high level automations and making sure that they have a foundation to actually operate on.
Got it. Well, cool. The term ghostwriting, there's obviously, first of all, explain it for people because if they don't know kind of what it is, and then I have a couple of follow-ups. So ghostwriting, what is it?
So ghostwriting is when somebody writes for somebody else and nobody knows that they're writing for somebody else. So any major author that you can think of has and is using ghostwriters to a degree. Robert Greene, Myron Golden, Stephen King, they all use ghostwriters. And it's not so much that we're writing for you, we're helping translate those thoughts into systematic flows so that the book flows. Because a lot of these guys, they're absolutely brilliant visionaries and they're great orators, and they need someone to help them just pull it together and to put it into a nice, beautiful package that everyone else can consume. And usually in traditional ghostwriting setups, nobody knows that this person exists. So you don't get put on the book. You don't get any sort of, you usually sign an NDA to where you cannot say that, hey, I wrote this book. Nowadays, though, people are kind of open to it. I think everyone's kind of open to the idea that other people help write. And so now you'll see written with a lot on a book, or, most of my guys have given me express permission to say, hey, I helped write that book. So I don't go and say I wrote the whole thing, even if maybe I did. I am like, hey, no, I'm their scribe, or I help them organize their thoughts, or, so that's traditional ghostwriting. It's for books and for a LinkedIn post, articles, anywhere you see words written, people are leveraging ghostwriters nowadays.
Yeah. And I just want to echo you and say, this is a very common thing in a lot of different modalities, like ghost coaching. If those of you guys that are listening to this haven't heard of that, that is a massive thing in our industry, in the fitness industry, right? Like coaches that are acting as if they are the main kind of face coach doing fulfillment on the back end. Now, in most cases, we can argue the morality all day. In most cases, it's that ghost coach has been trained on exactly how the kind of face coach would do. And if you're providing a good service and you're doing the right things by people and you're getting great results for people, like at the end of the day, does it matter? But like ghost writing, right? To me, it was an unlock in terms of I think it was David Goggins. He put in one of his books that I read because I read his books, and his is like written with, and it's got like the other writer's name on it. And same thing with Jocko Willink, right? They It would be unrealistic to expect that somebody like David Goggins, who has he spends as many hours a day as he does in the gym, does all these crazy athletic feats and everything that he's constantly accomplishing, and then all of a sudden he goes and he's like this amazing copywriter out of nowhere
Yeah.
writing these bestseller books. And
Yeah.
it's like he's got a lot of great stories, but like you said, I think it's a tandem thing. It's got to be like he's probably a great orator. He's probably great at telling the stories and he has a lot of great things to say, but somebody has to organize those thoughts. And I think in the age of AI, people are even more receptive to ghost writing, ghost coaching, whatever, because it's like at least another human
Mhm.
is doing it versus
Yeah.
the thing that I think people have a weird, you know, if a book was written completely like by AI on behalf of a person, that's where
Gotcha.
people are starting to,
Yeah, you're
whether
seeing
you say that's right or wrong,
you can
be
see
weird
that
about it.
everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere, and, for some people who write, and I'm sure you can too, you can kinda spot it a mile away, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a
Well,
bummer."
I was telling somebody this the other day. I feel like I second guess all my captions when I write them because as of right now, I still write all of my
Mhm.
captions. Um, I second guess because I was somebody that used dashes. Like I really pride myself on being very grammatically correct. And so now I'm trying to like dumb down my captions almost and put in more errors to make them not look like AI because every time somebody sees an M dash now or just good punctuation, people
Yep,
will say AI.
yep,
And it's like I feel like I'm in a weird you probably feel the same way because I'm sure
yeah.
you're very,
Yeah, it's
very
frustrating to a degree because so you're probably writing at a much higher grade level,
yeah.
probably like 10th, 11th grade level if you're using M dashes. Like I write at the higher level naturally as well because I'm a reader.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, we're seeing a lot of that, and that's a lot of frustration. A lot of some of my even copywriting students express of like I use it and it's me, and I've been accused of being AI before as well, and it's such a slap in the face, like, excuse me, I am a
Mhm.
real human."
Yeah. But it's almost like a compliment too of like, you were so good that people think a perfect machine made this
Yeah,
made this
yeah,
piece of content. So, okay, ghostwriting, copywriting, you're an educator as well. You have a multitude of different things. So let's go through some of your companies that you have currently, things that you kind of are currently at. Is Cashflow Copy the main thing that you're doing
yeah.
right now?
That's my main business, Cashflow Copy. Yep.
Okay. And then in doing kind of research, Inquiry showed up. So what
Okay.
was or is Inquiry? Is that still active?
That's the original baby. So my
Okay.
original business, my original baby, 6 years ago was Inquiry Co. And I was trying to be cool. Um, and moving forward into this new era, it was like, okay, that was cute. It's kind of like when you have your high school Gmail, right? Or your high school email address, and you're like, "Oh, yeah," and you sound so cool with, like, however you put it, and now
Yeah.
it's slightly embarrassing when
Mhm.
you try to yeah, that was Inquiry Co., and it served me so well, but it was time to move on. So, Cashflow Copy was actually started out as a coaching, course and program that I'm like, "Oh, I'm just gonna create this and run it," and then it was so marketable that I couldn't refuse. I couldn't resist turning my whole business underneath that. So, yeah, cash flow copy is now the overarching of everything.
So let's talk about how you got into the space just in general. Because I know you have a pretty wild previous life, previous kind of I guess occupation that you started in. So what was the winding path that took you to what you do today?
Yeah, I started writing when I was a kid, very young, obviously. We all started around 6 years old, but I was homeschooled and emotions weren't allowed in my family because we were raised in a cult called ATI, which is like Christian fundamentalism. So as a female, I was not allowed to express myself. So writing was the safest place, and that ended up really serving me and setting me up for success now. So yeah, that's kind of like where it all started. And then, you know, all this stuff happened, and I got into, long story short, I got into social work for about 8-ish years, where I had to figure out how to communicate very effectively and very quickly in high stakes situations. Um, my main area of expertise was in anti-sex trafficking. And you're approaching people on the streets, in the jungles, negotiating for people's lives. And I had no business doing it. I don't know why I kept being the person that they chose to do these things, but I think it's because I showed up and just said yes. And I'm like, yeah, somebody has to do it. So it might as well be me, you know?
Well, and I think too, you're sorry to cut you off, but I think you're extremely, you and I haven't talked like live talking besides like messaging, obviously very much, but you seem to be very witty. Like you seem to be very be quick witted, right? Like you can think on your feet pretty quickly. So I
Yeah.
imagine that's very important in those scenarios.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Because you'll get information, or they'll try to throw some shock value at you to create leverage, emotional leverage. And so you have to freeze your face. You can't react, but then your mind's going a million miles an hour of like, what do I do with this piece of information? Is it real? Is it truthful? Is it not? What's the intention behind it? And how do I spin it to my advantage or their
Hmm.
advantage to get them into safe housing or whatnot? So yeah, it kind of demands that, especially when people's lives are on the line. It definitely shifts the whole dynamic dramatically. Um, so when people are like, oh, transitioning from social work into running your own business, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. It makes all the sense in the world because all the same principles apply. And again, it really served me to enter into this business and be successful.
Yeah. Growing up in, because you made that comment the other day, and I thought she kind of said that a little bit too casually and maybe didn't laugh a ton after. So I was like, wait, was that true? You said, well, I was raised in a cult, and
Yeah.
I thought you were just like cracking a joke and then continuing going. So, but you were actually raised in a cult.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's
Okay.
the same cult as the Duggars, the 19 kids and counting people were in.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so knew them, was raised, at the same conventions they went to, was in the training centers. Um, and, I was blessed in that I didn't endure half as much abuse as a lot of people did who were very much integrated into the cult. I was kind of on the outskirts because my family only had 2 children. So we were kind of outcasts. Um, yeah. And
So
so,
more children got you like more favor, I guess, or more
yeah.
attention. Okay.
Yeah. So it's called the quiverful movement. And in Christianity, in the Bible, there's a verse that talks about having your quiver full of arrows, and what it's referring to is children that you shoot out and send to the world. So it's basically world domination through procreation and raising up a whole generation that we're now seeing really come alive with what is it called, TPA, with the Charlie Kirk
Oh, turning
movement
point.
and
Yeah.
all those guys.
Yeah.
It's the same people, it's the same stream. So like I was even doing Congress stuff when I was a kid of
Mm.
rallies, and we were practicing government procedures so that we could go and be people in government to move the country towards fundamentalist Christianity. And they also have their own military, a very highly trained military group in Big Sandy, Texas. I mean, they've got training centers all over the place. So,
Wow.
but yeah, fortunately, I got out kind of early. And again, we weren't as integrated, but it was still really harmful ideology and helpful. I mean, there's a trade off, right? So,
Yeah.
but it definitely formed me for sure.
Yeah. Two things. First thing, how did you get out? What does getting out mean in that type of a context?
Yeah, it's not nearly as intense as like what you would see in a documentary. It's more so you just kind of move out. So it's not like we lived in a commune or a fortified place or anything like that. Uh, we basically ran out of the homeschool curriculum. So once we had graduated high school, the choices were to go to their college, Verity College in Flint, Michigan, or to do your thing.
Mhm.
I was already going to college at 15, so it wasn't I wasn't going to go to Verity. And we kind of were like, okay, that was weird. Let's move on with our lives.
Your whole
Yeah,
family. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it
Wow.
was a pretty easy transition again.
Yeah, that is so crazy. And what did that do to your, because I mean, from us talking about it, one of our big things is we're a Christian company. We walk pretty heavy in our faith. What did that do to your faith or your view on religion?
I was keenly aware of this was not a correct representation of who God really was.
Yeah.
As far as the what's the word?
Just maybe the abuses that you were subjected to.
The legalism.
Okay.
So like, I wasn't allowed to wear pants majority of my childhood. I mean, when I was 16, I started wearing pants. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. I wasn't allowed to wear anything on my shirt because I would cause my brothers in Christ to stumble and it would be my
Mm,
fault and I would be a harlot at that point. Um, so yeah, I was just like, oh, this seems very like not who God is. And the
yeah.
person that I've been communing with, he's not a jerk. So it was all right. Again, it gave me a nice big foundation. But then when I moved and went to California, I went to Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry, which was polar opposite uh, ideology than what they had, right? The
Mhm.
religion, right? And it was more Pentecostal. It was speaking in tongues, laying on of hands. I call it the Harry Potter Christian school. It is considered a cult by other people as well. So one
Mhm.
cult to another.
Nice. Nice.
um, but I loved it. It was a great school that really helped me find my identity because I had no free will, no choice. So then moving to California and going grocery shopping was a really difficult moment for me. So
Mhm.
it allowed me to have those things in a very safe environment. So yeah, I guess now I'm more so in the middle as far as my, what I believe about Christianity and how all that goes. Um, I don't go to church. I just am not there. I
Mhm.
don't think I ever will, just because I've been hurt by so many people who practice the practice of going to church. I'm aware that's not God. It's just, I mean, I go into a parking lot of a church and I start to have a panic attack. Like it's just not
Really?
in my journey right now, I guess. So
Yeah. That's understandable. And I mean,
yeah,
God's a patient God, right? Like he'll patiently await you kind of coming home and everything. And the fact that you have a relationship and you do practice that and you do understand that those are, I can't even imagine what you have gone through or what you have been exposed to. Um, so thank you for sharing that. I know that's probably not extremely easy to talk about with some of that stuff.
no, I'm super blessed in that I had a great therapist when I started working for my first anti-sex trafficking organization. They offered the same therapist that we use for the women to us, and I took advantage of it. So, anything we talk about, even like super intense stuff, uh, I can list it off like a grocery list without having icky feelings or being triggered. It was a great therapist. So go to therapy.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely need to do that. Well, one day we'll get you out to Dallas, and we'll go to the church that we all go to, and I think you would like that.
All
Uh,
right.
very 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 low key, but it's you would like it, I think.
I trust you.
Yes. So you went through all of that, right? Cult to possibly cult, right? Two kind of extremes.
Yeah.
Landed somewhere in the middle as far as kind of what your beliefs are and where your relationships at. You got into social work, dealing with sex trafficking and helping out those individuals. And how did you kind of skipped into, and then I started my business, but like how did that, most people will have a way that's like, this skill started to get pulled from me, or I started to work on the skill and understand there's maybe something here, and so I monetized it once and was like, this can make me money. Like what was that moment like for you?
Yeah. I was still constantly writing throughout the entire social work experience as well because you have to make notes. And my notes were insanely detailed and really did a good job of painting the full story and the full context of the situations that I was finding myself in. And then we also developed a curriculum. I helped develop a curriculum for prevention that we would go into the schools from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade and teach children how to tell a safe adult if something terrible happened to them, because we see that as a root cause of sex trafficking, that children are mostly abused around the ages 6 to 8. And so if we can get them to come forward and to get healing and to get help before that thing escalates into something else, then we're addressing the root cause, one of the root causes. So I helped develop that whole curriculum, as well as writing grants and legislation for anti-sex trafficking. So it was just something that I always did, and I was always known for being a good writer. And then during COVID, I was working for Safe Children Coalition in doing anti-sex trafficking for foster care kids. And I was pregnant and I miscarried. So that was going on. And then it just got to a place to where it was very obvious how corrupt the system was. And children were dying, to be
Mhm.
frank, during COVID. And nobody seemed to really care. And no one seemed to have any sort of solution for it. And it infuriated me. And I couldn't contribute to that system anymore. So I quit during COVID, even though like it was a essential job or whatever. I was still getting a full paycheck. I couldn't feed into that system. And so I decided I have to get extremely wealthy and extremely successful if I want to create real change in this world and in these people's lives. And I have all the tools and experience to where I understand every single part of this. So I feel like I have the knowledge to address the important areas or the gaps that need to be filled when it comes to funding to stop these issues. So yeah, that's when I made the jump. I remember sending, off the emails to my people, and they were furious about me leaving. And, I laid it out. Hey, I just can't be a part of this. This is corrupt. I don't feel comfortable with this anymore. And you guys won't make changes. So I just can't be a part of it. And
Mhm.
my husband was so awesome because I texted him and said, hey, I just quit. Like he knew I was thinking about it, but I didn't expect to quit that day. Neither did he. So when I came home, he had bought a desk, assembled it, and a chair, and had put it in our guest bedroom, which is
That's
where I'm at
awesome.
right now, and like full support. So when I hear about entrepreneurs and they're like, "Oh, your spouse doesn't support you," no, like I've never experienced that. Gavin may not understand why the heck I do or even what I do. We had that conversation last time. Like, do you understand what I do? And he's like, no, not really. The fact that he still just supports it 110% means the world to me.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny because I'm the same way. I don't think most of my family Kenzie's probably at a point now where she could, my wife, but most of my family could not explain to you what I do. They know the name of the company, they know that we work with coaches, but that's kind of like the gist of it's something on a website or
Yeah.
software or
He's like, she's on the
um
internet all day.
yeah.
He's has told coworkers that I do OnlyFans, which I'm like, okay, you can't go around saying that. You're gonna ruin my
Yeah,
reputation, baby. I
exactly.
appreciate it, but no thank
Yeah,
you.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. But no, I think it's a big part of the success of entrepreneurs, especially ones that have a significant other or a spouse, is that support because it takes a special kind of person to be willing to support you and understand that, hey, there's going to be a lot of sacrifices, right? Like income is going to be up and down. It's not going to be consistent anymore, right? Like hours, not consistent anymore. I'm going to have to dedicate way more hours and also still experience those low income days or months or weeks, right?
Mhm.
And so it takes a special kind of person to be open to experiencing that level of, I guess, variability
Yeah,
from their significant other.
yeah,
And it just takes a special person in general to support the mental health of an entrepreneur as well,
yeah,
because that's a roller coaster in and of itself.
yeah. Throw being a woman, on top of the
Mhm.
mental health thing and being Italian. So yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's a saint.
all the right mixtures. Yeah,
Oh.
that's hilarious. Well, okay, so you got into that's when you started kind of monetizing. What was it like getting your first customer? What was that moment like for you, and how did you pitch them? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? How did that work?
Man, that was a long time ago. I, gosh, my first client was local and probably my only local client ever. I
Really?
just posted on Facebook that, hey, finally following my dreams. And it was such an easy transition because, in all social media was still kind of newish. So when I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing, everyone's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like you're really good at writing. We've seen you post things. We've read your stuff. So it wasn't a shock to anybody. They were like, oh, awesome, great. And then a local lady saw my post and she's like, I need help with that. So I was more so filling an assistant role that writes with her and figuring out what area of writing I wanted to be in because there's so many different ways you can go with it. And then I started on Fiverr and Upwork back when they were really new platforms again and great places to start. And I got my first millionaire client within a month, and he pulled me off Fiverr. He bought a course, like a $10,000 copywriting course from me, from one of the greats, Alex Catoni. She's amazing. Um, and he bought that course for me and then he paid me to take the course to be his writer. And it was
Wow.
the most generous thing that had ever happened to me up until that point, and it was so kind. um, Michael Anthony, and I mean we still talk. He's doing great, his business is doing great. But yeah, it was really amazing to have someone I didn't know on the internet believe in me, support me, give me the tools I needed to really excel, and give me the opportunity. So I aim to do that now for others.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy though how that works? Like
Mhm.
the most diehard people for you, your business, your brand typically are people that you've either never met or don't have
Mhm.
any history with outside of just interacting with your marketing, brand, social, etc.
Yeah.
But the
It's
people that you kind of expect, friends, family members, things like that, to be the diehard supporters are typically not nowhere to be found a lot of times.
they're not going to be your customer. Yeah. I am very, very freaking blessed in that I have an incredible family. My dad is my biggest fan and I'm his biggest fan. So you'll see I'm always with them every single Sunday. Um, so again, I'm super blessed in that I had a community that even if they didn't buy from me because they didn't need me, they didn't have businesses, they had 9 to 5s, they always cheer me on. I have one friend, we very rarely talk, but anytime something big happens, she insists on taking me out to dinner to celebrate me. And I've never had, it's always so bizarre and it's always so random. And I'm like, damn, she's really good at celebrating me. And that means the world to me because, as you know, entrepreneurship is a very lonely path sometimes. You feel very isolated. So to have those people in your corner means a lot.
Yeah. And you typically don't celebrate enough as an entrepreneur either because it
No.
always feels like you should be doing more, you should
Yeah.
be achieving more, you should be making more. And
Hmm.
so we very rarely actually take a beat and be like, "Oh, this was pretty cool that I did
Yeah.
XYZ."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
For sure.
awesome. I have the same kind of thing. My family is, I've had a lot of launches in my history where the only person that buys is my dad, or my mom, and yeah, I definitely feel that there as far as that all that goes.
Hmm.
Now, what percentage of your customer base, like, do you do much work for kind of our industry as far as coaches or consultants or anything?
In info services, yeah.
Okay,
So coaches, yes. Most of my guys, sorry, my dog's barking.
you're good.
Most of my clients are in info services. I only have one client right now that they're doing a product, and that's the Riz drink. But everybody else is either doing high level coaching and consulting, or building a personal brand, or writing a book together. So a lot of them are in the real estate realm, is their thing.
Got it. Okay. Reason I ask is because I'm curious the parallel. So a big thing that I've been working on recently is kind of outlining for coaches what do things look like at different revenue levels because I've just talked to so many of them, and what are the main bottlenecks that people are like, what are the consistencies of like what's holding them back at the current revenue level, what they have to unlock or achieve to get to the next one, and so on and so forth. So with majority of your clients, are you seeing a consistency of like, are they all around a certain amount per month for you?
Yeah. So they all make around 100,000 a month or above. Um, And usually what we're doing isn't their first business. It's usually a side business that they're wanting to grow into something more. So usually they already have their main flow, they've already been successful, and they're like, hey, I'm launching this program. I need someone specifically on it to run it up. And then again, inevitably, I end up integrating myself into everything because it's fun for me. So yeah, but the usually the big main factor that I see holding people back getting from, from 5K to 10K to 100K a month is just sticking to the basics. You taste some success and you're like, oh, I'm I'm the shit, and then they go and run ads and they do all of these extracurricular activities for their business, and they forget to send their cold DMs. They forget the clients that they currently have that have been paying them for the past 3 years. They forget to do, appreciations. They forget to run their systems. Like, it's just the basic stuff they start fumbling on and the business falls apart.
Mhm.
And so that's where those automations, those systems and processes, those SOPs really come into play to make sure that it's a durable business that can last no matter what.
Yeah. I heard a guy the other day, one of our new partnerships, he used the word or the term irreducible minimums. Irreducible minimums. And I thought that was such an interesting way to put, like, those are the things that his people have to do every single day, cannot be reduced. That's the absolute minimum, right? Anything above that is great. You're expected to do above that. But he has these, instead of just being KPIs of like goals you should like shoot for, it's like, no, this is the floor, right? Your irreducible minimum. You can never go below that. So I thought that was an interesting thing. And it really is. It's the daily things that you're doing that end up putting you on track for the monthly goals or the weekly goals or the quarterly goals or the yearly goals. And in our space in particular, there's pretty, I would say above or below 10K per month, like everybody has virtually the same problems. They're collecting money on a bunch of different platforms. They're probably getting Zelled from some clients. They're getting Venmo from others. They're getting, Stripe here and PayPal over here, and all, like, everything's chaos, even on the payment collection, maybe even manually billing people every month.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they haven't quite, if they haven't cracked 10K, they haven't quite built in enough consistency, right? To demonstrate that this is something they should take a leap on, maybe even like quit their other job for. So they haven't quite demonstrated enough volume to say, like, this is something I can go all in on. But once they do that, once they cross the 10K mark, it typically gets a little bit more standardized. But scaling to 25K is extremely hard because they're just scaling chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, they didn't fix the systems part. Maybe they're collecting all money in one spot. Maybe they got an app like, AR or Check-ins Pro or Trainerize, right? That they have some sort of fulfillment system going, but they are making enough money to where they have a business now, not enough money to where they can scale themselves out of the things that they don't want to be doing, right? Whether that's hiring somebody like you to come in and do copywriting, or maybe writing their email sequences, or building out some of their nurture sequences, right? Or hiring somebody like us to come in and build out their funnels and things like that, or maybe a closer because they hate sales, right? Or maybe a coach because they really don't like the coaching part, they like the entrepreneur part. And then what we see, I'm curious if you see the same thing. What I'm trying to kind of build to is, what we see is the most enjoyment, the best overall life balance, business balance, cash balance for an entrepreneur in our space is around 50K per month. We see people quit coaching either below 5K per month or above 100K per month. And there's really no in between, which is insane to me, right? But it's because above 50K per month, they build themselves into a prison that they hate a lot of times. They scale in a way that they're told they have to scale, but in reality, like, they didn't really want to. They wanted the life that they had at around that 50K mark, where they're taking home 25, 30, maybe even 40K per month, depending on expenses. Don't have a massive team, right? They're keeping a lot of cash in the business and a lot of cash for themselves. They can hire the things that they don't want to do. They get to actually, they're not working 70 hours a week anymore because they have some employees. So I'm curious, do you have, it's probably a different revenue level in yours, but do you see kind of like them settle around a certain point where they're enjoying themselves and have a good balance, or is there any trend there for you?
I have one client, and honestly, it's a time issue. I've been asking for the same literally sentence to go to finish this one freaking monthly email that's supposed to go out. I mean, and it's January 13th. And so when he's like, hey, I want to put out this email that in addition to what we're already doing, I'm like, okay, this all sounds lovely. I don't hear from you for months. Like, I just create for him and he loves it. We have great sales, we have great retentions, great open rates. Everything's perfect. And I'm like, I don't hear from you. So how is this going to be any different? He's like, no, I want to do it. Okay. No, you know?
Mm,
So he's basically the only one. And because he is just got too many leads, he has too much money, too many customers is his thing. So I would love to crawl into the back end. I would love to get my hands on his system and fix it for him to where I mean, we could easily 10x what he's making right now. And he's got the influence, he has the clout, he has everything. And I'm like, we could make him so much more money. And he's like, yeah, but I don't need more money. I'm like, okay, well, we can help so many more people. You can do scholarships for other people who can't afford, there's so much that we could do here. So that's the only client I have who's getting in his own way. Everybody else that I have issues with, it's because their personal development isn't in line with their business development. So they
mm,
are hot mess expresses emotionally and mentally. And a lot of their time is spent calling me 3 to 7 times a day, asking me how to handle a situation that's either a relationship or, they don't understand how to text or deal with confrontation. And so I'm ghostwriting for them essentially in that space and kind of counseling them. So that's when I kind of shift into more of that counselor mode, and all that social work experience really does help me out to set them up for success. And I become more of like a muse kind of role for them to where I'm helping them operate through life in a more effective way. So yeah, the personal development is where they seem to struggle the most.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I am sure you would say the same thing. But the biggest thing that for me has unlocked more growth in our business is me developing as an entrepreneur and as a person. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Mike, we do end of year kind of reviews with everybody. And so even like Mike and Felicity, when they were reviewing me and my performance over the last year, they were saying like, hey, you're like a different human than you were 4 months ago. And, they were saying it was cool to see and all the things that I'm trying to work on. But I think it's just you have to decide, you almost have to act as if, right? There's that whole like acting as if kind of framework of, for me, I'm the COO of AR. And so I can either be the COO of, that for the first year we did whatever, 500,000, right? I can be the COO of a $500,000 company and then just like be stuck in that identity and not grow. Or I can say like, well, I'm the COO of like, we want to do 4 million this year, like of a $4 million company or a 5 million
Yep.
or a $10 million company.
Yep.
What does that person wear to work? What does that person drive to work, right? What does that person do on a daily basis? What does their schedule look like? How do they
Mm-hmm.
interact with employees? Do they interact with all their employees? Is it only their direct reports? Do they have agendas on all their meetings, right? What does their to-do list look like? What types of activities are they touching? Are they talking to each department? Like all of those. And then I've just kind of started reframing like, okay, I've got to be this person. And I think that's such a simple kind of hack or tool that a lot of people could benefit from doing is stop building for acting like or showing up as the person I am right now today. If you can just skip a couple of levels for yourself and be like, okay, what does that guy look like? What does that girl look like? And then just be them, you'll eventually evolve into like, oh crap, like I actually,
Yeah.
everything kind of caught up to me here, you know?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. That's why I have a guy, he's really struggling with tonality in his content. He's very stoic. And I'm like, dude, I love it, but it's like I have a gun to your head to make this content. And I'm like, so he loves Ryan Serhant. And I'm like, who you think Ryan felt like he was super dramatic and silly and like cringe when he was making his marketing videos? Yeah, 100%. Be Ryan Serhant until you are. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel inauthentic. it's going to feel very contradictory, and it's what's required. You're 100% correct.
You have a big emphasis on basically keeping the promises you have to yourself and just habits, right?
Mm.
Um, what are some of your like non-negotiable habits for keeping you high performing and in the right mindset?
I'm a little strange bear, just because I have so much mental health issues and brain issues. I had a traumatic brain injury about 12 years ago, and that really affected the way I my brain processed information. I used to be the kid that could show up and just ace tests. Like, I was very good at that kind of stuff. I was annoyingly so, right? I am not that kid anymore. Keeping thoughts in my head is insanely difficult. So I have to be disciplined if I want to be successful. It's just in life in general. So keeping notes, like, I always have, little sticky notes and notepads next to me to where I'm constantly keeping lists of everything. But I have to go to the gym every single morning. That's a non-negotiable. Unless on my rest days, I'm still going, but I'm doing cardio. Um, I have to get sleep. Sleep is insanely important for me. If I'm such a princess, if I don't get my 8 hours, I'm straight up a toddler. I
Mhm.
cry at everything. My feelings get hurt left and right. It's not cute. It's so bad. So I have to prioritize sleep. I have to go to bed at 9:30. I have to. I have to get
Mhm.
up at 4 a.m. That's the schedule I've locked myself into and seems to work the best for me. And then, spending time with my parents on the weekend is an absolute non negotiable. And my grandmother's one of those. And then also my niece, Cora. So, not the business ones you were probably looking for. I don't do cold plunge because my body's already in fight mode 24/7. So I don't need to push it further into that. But yeah, those things keep me grounded. And then just slowing down enough to listen to my husband is like a really huge one. So I try to stay off my phone during dinner. I have like business hours. And then when I move out of this room into the rest of the house, I'm in wife mode. I'm not in writer mode. So just having those separations in my brain really works for me.
It's funny that you say that because I've noticed initially, I think whenever I was starting out, and I think you have to go through kind of your rocky cutscene, right? Like your fight kind of grind phase. Um, and starting out, I think I did a lot of that stuff. It was just nonstop. It was all personal development, all better, 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 nonstop, all day, every day. But I feel like as I have evolved, a lot more of my daily habits are the same type of thing. Like I've got to fill my cup, right? I got to fill my own cup because then I show up as a better entrepreneur, as a better boss, as a better leader, as a better friend, as a better husband, and all of the kind of above. So I feel like a lot of my non-negotiables are the same type of thing. Like especially this year, the listeners have heard me talk about it on both podcasts so far this year. But I've been doing scripture over screens or scripture before screens. So get up, read the Bible first before anything else. I don't allow myself to roll. Previously, I would just roll over in bed, turn off my alarm, and immediately start responding to work text, client text, stuff in ClickUp, stuff in AR, all of the above. And it was just like immediate cortisol dump the second that I roll over in the morning. And now it's been really great for me to like get up, go downstairs, let the pup out, sit on the couch, like just get into some scripture, hear a little bit from God to start the day. And then I can get into phone, but I'm feeling way better. Like I feel more relaxed, right? I'm not immediately freaking out or panicking about something. Um, I listen to podcasts whenever I'm driving. I don't really listen to music, but most of those podcasts are super goofy podcasts. It's like comedian podcasts. Like I used to force feed self personal development just like nonstop into my brain.
Yeah.
Like Hormozy, Chris Williamson, like Joe Rogan, like all of this stuff, just forcing it into my brain. And I realized as soon as I started like allowing myself some play and some laughter, right? And just these goofy things that have nothing to do with personal development. I'm not going to learn a single thing, but it relaxes me and it puts me in a better headspace to go perform. I've been doing that, non-negotiable FaceTimes with my family. I call myself and they've started calling me as well, reluctantly, the glue guy of my family. So like my family lives in Oklahoma, right? And actually my sister lives in Houston as well. So we're in between, my wife and I.
Okay.
So we do non-negotiable. Like I make them FaceTime every single weekend. We do like a family FaceTime where we're all on there and we catch up for the week and everything. Um, so a lot of now that you say that, a lot of my habits are not business related as well. And I do love that we have an HQ now. Like that's been big for me because working from home, I really struggled with what you're talking about, a separation. And so now it is so much better. Like when you walk into this office, it is work mode. Whenever you get home, it is home mode, right? And although I might allow myself an hour or two on the weekends to kind of knock stuff out because that's kind of where we're at in the business, is I don't have to do as much. It's I'm a husband whenever I'm at home, right? I'm not necessarily co-owner of AR, right?
Yeah, I
So
love it. Yeah.
it's funny you say that.
One of my other ones is usually on Wednesday, I have to work from another place, like instead of in home. So I'll force myself to go to a coffee shop or something, um, to where I work from a different space just to get out of the house because I'll go crazy. Uh, so yeah, that's my solution to not go crazy.
Yeah, switching up your environment is big, really
Mhm.
big. And I found even whenever I was working from home, one thing I started doing to like trick myself to go into work mode and not like stay in comfy, I'm at home mode and I could watch Netflix or eat food on the couch or whatever, would be I would get up, I would shower, I would get dressed, and then I would walk and sit down and like get dressed in work attire and
Yeah.
go sit down at my desk. And doing that versus staying in sweats or shorts or a hoodie or whatever, that helped me also mentally to be like, oh, you're going to do a thing. Like you're going to work, right? This is real work. This is not just like, get comfy and be on the laptop for a little bit. This is like, we're going into a different phase of your day. So that helped me out a ton. Um, I talk a lot about AI on the podcast and something that you've been building, and I don't know if it's live yet. You kind of mentioned it the other day, Cashflow or your copy bot that
Yeah.
you've been developing.
We
Talk about
broke
that.
it. We broke it yesterday,
Okay.
which is good. You want to break it. So it was launched and then it broke. But basically, I'm very aware that AI is going to get to a place to where I am not a copywriter. They won't
Mhm.
need me to write copy. So instead of waiting for it to happen, I decided, well, who better to create, a copywriting tool, a strategy tool than me? And I might as well make money off of it if it's going to take my job. So that started the development process. Had a horrible development team. It was horrible. I had to fire them. Lost a bunch of money with them. Started with another team. They've been good so far, and we're almost there. We're so close. So we kind of did a soft launch, and then we ended up breaking it, which is cool. But the main thing is it has agents inside that you can build for each of the different personalities that you're writing for. There's all these different modules that you can change to create that personality within the app. You also can have a prompt library. So there's a prompt library that I've created to you have the admin prompts, but then you can also create your own prompts and add them to your library and then share them with other people. I don't know why they haven't done that with Claude and ChatGPT yet, why they're forcing us to use Google Docs, but I'm like, this is a really easy add-on. So and
You would
that's
think.
been sorry.
I said you would think it would be a really
Yeah,
easy add-on. I thought the
yeah.
same thing.
So we did it. And it's great and it works amazing. And I update them every single week. So the goal would be to have new progressive prompts, every single week that I'm learning and growing and using. Okay, here you go. Like now you have a prompt. I think I just did one for editing and auditing your copy and super niching down to a micro segment of your email list and what to send that person and how to send it to them, because I just wanted to give other people an opportunity, not only a tool for writers but tools for business owners who, like we were talking about, could not afford a copywriter. We're
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
We are. So I wanted to give them an opportunity, and then also I trained it on all like the human psychology. So all of my social work trainings, teachings, I shoved them all into them. I trained it on psychology first, sales second, and then writing last. So that's the way it thinks which it's pretty freaking good. I had a kid, he's been using it and he created a VSL with it and the strategy behind the VSL and the funnel. And he's made over 6 figures off of that one VSL. So it's working, it's doing the thing. And yeah, it's semi-launched. We go back and forth every week, but yeah, you can just DM me if you want to use it. I'll send it to you.
Okay, that was going to be my my next question is how can people get on, whether it's a wait list or pre-purchase or so just DM you. That's the best way to
Yeah,
get.
DM me or the website's mycopybot.com.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Well, Amanda, I know we're coming up on time here. I really appreciate you even just taking the time and being so receptive to hopping on a call. We are determined to get you out to Dallas. Thank you for sending us. We didn't even talk about it, but like a case of your Riz drinks. And I'm kind of on limited caffeine right now, so that's going to be big for me to help me focus and drink something flavored. But man, it's just so impressive, everything that you're doing and you've been through and your kind of story. And so I've really enjoyed over the last, however long since we first kind of interacted all the way to now and learning a lot more about you over the last few weeks, just from more conversations. It's really cool to see what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you've done as well.
Thank
So
you.
I
I
appreciate you
love
and your
that.
time.
I'm super stoked. I'm always trying to wiggle more into your world. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's very impressive what you guys have done yourselves. And it's cool to see real men operating in healthy masculinity and with character and integrity because it's so freaking rare. So yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm going to make sure all of your links are down below. I'll get the link to the direct link to my copybot as well for people to try it out or kind of interact with the new thing that you got going. And yeah, I appreciate you, Amanda, and I hope to have you on again soon.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Amanda.
All right, bye.